Is on TVP World. Welcome back to Rachon Show. Before we start, before we move to the things that we are discussing with our viewers online as well, I'd like to have your say about the feeling of people in Ukraine right now. We've been waiting for this counteroffensive to begin. What do you hear from the people who live in Ukraine right now?
Well, you know, the feeling here, Michał, has been very much on the floods, the Russian-caused floods in Kherson that happened last Tuesday. Almost everyone I know is involved in some way in helping the efforts. In fact, there are reports I've heard of traffic jams over the weekend as people are going down to help. So traffic jams going toward the problem, not away from it, which really is a great sign of Ukrainian strength and resilience. Those floods weigh heavily on everyone here, and not just the fact of the floods, but also the flood of misinformation. And today, Ukrainian ambassador to the United States, she posted on Facebook, she wrote with great frustration about, you know, all those in the media and politics around the world who say, oh, we're not sure who caused the destruction of the dam. And she pointed out in 1932 and 33, when Stalin was in charge and he was remaking in the Soviet communist vision, trying to remake agriculture and trying to stop Ukrainian independence movements, there was a massive famine, the Holodomor. And there was a correspondent for the New York Times, Walter Duranty, and he wrote these words in August 1933. In the New York Times front page story, the excellent harvest about to be gathered shows that any report of a famine in Russia is today an exaggeration. Now we know that that was a total lie, that Stalin had created a famine. It was a man-made famine. Anywhere from 3.5 to 5 million Ukrainians were killed during that time. And Ukrainians are feeling that once again with this, the people circulating the past few days. This is a very complicated thing because it's misreported by everyone from the Associated Press to the New York Post to people in Congress. And we have this story about the special counsel investigating President Biden's family's finances. And almost every single story, and I'm sure everyone has heard this, says the same thing. The Associated Press said last week, Hunter Biden worked on the board of Burisma, a Ukrainian gas company. And I have to just reiterate, that is not true. It's a very delicate thing, but we have right now, as we see, and as we just heard from the previous guest, you know, there's so much on the line for Ukraine. And so every bit of misinformation can really do a lot of damage. And the thing we have to realize about Burisma, it was a Ukrainian company. And in 2014, the CEO of Burisma, it's hard to say his name, Mykola Zlochevsky, he was in the government of Viktor Yanukovych. And he was part of the corrupt regime that the Ukrainian people kicked out in 2014.
So, Joe, just for our viewers who do not know the context, please tell our viewers, where is Viktor Yanukovych now? When he was kicked away by the Ukrainian people, where did he go?
Well, it's very important. The people stood in the streets protesting, and Viktor Yanukovych fled the country. He fled to Russia. You know, unlike President Zelensky, for example, who, facing a risk to his life, did not leave Ukraine, Yanukovych chose to go to Russia, and his government also fled, and that included...
So that's just a Russian puppet for our viewers to understand the nature of the Russian regime and the post-communist regimes is that those kind of puppets were planted or were tried to be planted in each and every state that Russia was trying to grab. And Russia had Ukraine for many years. Yanukovych, his gang of killers, of thieves, was working in the name of Russia. So everyone who was working for his regime was technically and effectively working for Russia, not for Ukraine. It's so easy to understand when you live here, but I think it's hard to understand if you do not know the precise context.
Well, and Michał, furthermore, so that was exactly what the Ukrainian people were trying to get rid of, and they succeeded. And so, I mean, everyone forgets this, I think on the left and the right, but 2014 was such a powerful moment when the pro-corruption forces, which were allied with Moscow, fled the country. And then also we have to note, Burisma, as an energy firm, some of its most important assets were in the Crimean Peninsula. And for several weeks after the Revolution of Dignity, Burisma was disconnected from Crimea. But they didn't have to fear, because then Putin stepped in and took Crimea. And Burisma, which is not, at this point, March 2014, you cannot call it a Ukrainian company. It is now a Moscow company, and they were reunited with their energy assets in Crimea. Obama and Biden administration did nothing, really nothing, along with many other world leaders, to help Ukraine and to stop Russia. Then 2 months later, May 2014, is when Burisma, and this is the clear, I've tried to be so clear about it, May 2014, Burisma, based in Moscow, hires the son of the sitting vice president of the United States, Hunter Biden. And to show that this is not partisan, we have to remember that Donald Trump's first campaign manager also worked for Viktor Yanukovych, the ousted corrupt president of Ukraine. But I just want to say one more time, Burisma is not a Ukrainian company. End of it.
And if you look at the list of board directors of Burisma, you'll find plenty of puppets of Russia from Central Europe. You can do the math if you are interested in the details. Joe, we asked our viewers last week about those vans that we would like to send to Ukraine to help the people in the front line. Looks like there is a kind of response. We are trying to figure it out how to exactly do it, but you got one idea. So if someone is eager to do it fast, here's the way.
Yeah, and it was great to see the response of the viewers and the comments on YouTube. You know, Ukrainian democracy is so much about coming from the roots, you know, bottom up versus top down. And so everyone here knows what the soldiers need. And early on in the war effort, people realized it was more effective to send vehicles directly to soldiers, not to commanders far away from the front lines, to make sure they actually get, the vehicles are delivered where they need to go. And so I spoke with friends they had an IT company before the war, before the full-scale invasion, Deep Inspire, and now they've shifted mindset to do everything they can to help the military. And they are always aware of frontline needs. And so we can start small and raise money, $5,000, for one SUV for a Ukrainian soldier named Vlad. He's 27 years old. He was a computer programmer before the full-scale invasion, and now he's been conscripted, but he's become, like so many, found new talents in wartime. And so he's now in a position of a higher position in a reconnaissance unit, and he needs an SUV for his guys. And so if you go to UkrainianFreedomNews.com, you can click on the yellow banner that says across the top, click here to join our fundraiser. And through our partners in the United States, we can accept tax-deductible donations for a vehicle. So everything's pretty clear there. UkrainianFreedomNews.com. And with $5,000, Michał, it'd be great if the audience of your show and together, during this time when, Ukraine, I mean, the next weeks are so crucial for everyone here. And if we can get the guys at the front lines what they need, it can make a huge difference. So SUV for Vlad, UkrainianFreedomNews.com. We need to raise $5,000. Let's see if we can do it.
Okay, so let's do it. If we can do it, I'll go and click right after we finish this show, and hope that we are going to have a photo from Vlad when this happens. And we are thinking about the broader way to help people who are trying to kick out Ruskies out of the territory they were trying to steal. Joe, thanks a lot for your time. See you soon. Stay safe.
And I'll say, by the way, with all these floodwaters, SUVs are very important right now. So, Michał, thank you so much.